there is a country that managed to get from being one of the poorest countries in Europe to one of the richest countries in the world in less than a century. A country that has the second highest rate of unicorn startups per capita in the world, only second to Silicon Valley. A country that lists on the top in workers' happiness, citizens' happiness, education, quality of living, future perspective, social equality, and many other rankings. This country is, of course, Sweden, our favorite country that we talk about in this channel, the country I moved to, and the country that never really stops to surprise me. And today I really want to share with you why I think Sweden is considered worldwide to be one of the best, if not the best country in the world to start a business in. So Sweden is one of the best, if not absolutely the best country in the world for startups. It is considered worldwide to be a fantastic place to start your business, where you're helped and you really are capable to take such a big step of starting a new company. And it's not a case that Sweden has been one of the countries that has seen the most unicorn startups, which means startups that are now valued for over $1 billion just be born here. To name a few: Skype, Northvolt, Klarna, Epidemic Sound, King. But how was this possible? How did Sweden go from being the country that lost almost 1/3 of its population during the Great Migration to the US in the late 1800s and early 1900s to being the fantastic economy it is now? Well, let's take a look. During the late 1800s and early 1900s, over 1.3 million citizens left the poor country of Sweden to find a better place in the prosperous and promising United States of America, when the perspective of food on the table, work and future attracted young and desperate people. Fast forward 100 years later, and the scenario in Sweden is pretty different. Sweden is nowadays one of the richest countries in the world, home of probably the best, but at least one of the best welfare system on the planet. And Sweden is, surprisingly, due to the welfare system and the high equality that there is in this country, one of the countries with the highest number of billionaires per capita. We have seen in our previous video how Sweden charges an almost ridiculous amount of taxes, income taxes, to finance the fantastic welfare system that this country has. If you haven't seen the video, feel free to go and take a look at it. Probably the most important aspects of Sweden's highly subsidized systems are education, healthcare and unemployment. Children in Sweden receive free education from preschool to university. If this wasn't enough, the Swedish education system is constantly ranked among the highest in the world, constantly hitting the top 5 or top 10 depending on the studies you look at. This is, however, not surprising, given that Sweden spends well above 7% of its entire GDP in education. The education also tends to be more hands-on and less theoretical than the education of more classical countries like Italy, where I'm from. Contrarily from Italy, when I started studying chemistry in Sweden, I was put in the lab from the first day of my course. We didn't even have a lecture, I was in a lab. And that was scary for me. Sweden has also a constant look to the outside world, finding constant inspiration from other countries at the top. This style of education and this level of always wanting to be the best or one of the best, always being able to change and ready to change the educational system, has put Sweden as one of the best countries, constantly one of the best countries in the world when it comes to quality of education, accessibility of education. But maybe most importantly, this has led to a very knowledgeable, hands-on, ready to work bunch of young adults with really high entrepreneurial skills, and if they wanted, they really knew how to do something. It's just time to get to work without having to spend years to learn it on the job. But yeah, Sweden has such great schools, we got it. Sweden is one of the best countries when it comes to education, but according to you, then Finland, which is better than Sweden, should have more startups per capita. So what's the point? You also said that Sweden charges really high income taxes, so why would I ever, in my mind, start a business in Sweden when I'm gonna pay so much taxes? Well, according to several studies, what stops people from starting a business is not a high level of taxation, but rather the immediate cost of starting a business, whether that means the cost of registration, the initial investment needed, or the risk of being without an income for months or years before the business actually becomes profitable. On this matter, let me introduce you to Sweden's trade unions. Labor unions play a fundamental role in ensuring job security, safety in the workplace, employees' happiness, better wages, and employment and unemployment benefits. Sweden is particularly good at labor unions. In fact, Sweden, only after Iceland apparently, is the country with the highest labor union membership in the world. It is estimated that over 80% of Sweden's population is member of a trade union, compared to Italy's 35%, UK's 23%, and US is 13%. Also, the level of influence that these unions have on government and lawmaking is incredible. I've never seen anyone discuss the laws or rules, not an employer saying that this is too strict or too much in Sweden, which is not really what I experience in other countries. But what is particularly important for this video is the unemployment benefits that citizens have, which have been agreed by trade unions and the government. The Swedish government gives an unemployment compensation to anyone who's looking for a job up to 1.5 years, and does skip all the details because otherwise this video is going to be 2 hours long. This means that if you have a stable job but you also have a business idea, you're more likely to take your chance to start your own business. On top of that, the government also subsidizes new business idea. You don't have to do anything else than present your business idea to the Swedish authorities, and if they consider the idea to be profitable in the future, you will have 6 months of salary paid by the state based on your previous salary.
The artist assumes no responsibility for any omissions in the generalized message given above. A few details have been omitted to make this video less than 3 hours long. If you have a different experience, feel free to share it in a comment, but be nice. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free, just like education, heavily subsidized by the Swedish government.
So at this point, you may start to see why it is so easy to take a chance on starting your own business in Sweden, and why so many do. The education system ensures that you're technically prepared for the task, and the government puts you in the perfect spot to not have to worry about your financial situation. But what if I fail? I will have lost my job! Well, the Swedish job market is extremely flexible. I am still shocked by it, how easy it is to just change job, quit job, find a new job. Just go out there and you will have a job, especially in the bigger cities. This is probably not the same everywhere in Sweden, so take it with a grain of salt. Geographically dependent. It is very common to hear people changing several jobs in the span of a few years. And the typical thing you hear when you look for a job is, you can always try, and if it's not right, you look for a new job. This high possibility and opportunity in the job market also leads to less risk in quitting or pausing your job, whether that is playing music, creating a new piece of software, or starting the next eco-friendly corner cafe. The high social welfare of Sweden allows you to have a stable and steady income, whether your business is profitable or not from day one. So this makes you more willing to take a chance on your business, because in the long run it might be very, very profitable for you, while still living a decent life without having to worry about economy. But the high taxes you said, I will never get as rich as starting the business in other countries. Probably, but you won't even have the same chances to start your own business in other countries either. Also, despite being a very equal country, Sweden's people are rich, very rich. Starting your own business leads to high reward, and those who succeed make very good profit out of it. Except for Switzerland, Israel, and a few tax havens microstates like Hong Kong or Luxembourg, Sweden has the highest number of billionaires per capita in the world. This relatively low risk and high reward means that you're probably more willing and likely to start a business if you're in Sweden, despite the high taxation. But there's also another thing that is less evident that makes Sweden the perfect country for innovation. In my opinion, Swedes are very curious people. Children are taught to speak their mind at school, and they're always ready to catch up on the next big thing. They always look outwards, look at other countries, see what other countries make, and always try to make it better, sometimes failing, like pineapple on pizza or kebab on pizza. And they have the drive to develop those ideas further. They're also not judgmental of others. This means that you can cultivate your quirky idea and people are going to be supportive of that. So it's this formula of low risk and high reward that I really believe makes Sweden the perfect country to start a business in. But now it's up to you. Do you think you would have started your own business if you were in Sweden? And is there anything that stops you from developing your idea? Also, do you think this video has been helpful? If you find it helpful, just please give it a like so more people can find it, and this is gonna help the channel. See you next video!